Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 188. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show for you. Today we're going to be listening to excerpts from Master P when he discusses his 9 laws of success. If you don't know who Master P is, he's a former rapper out of New Orleans who turned that rap game upside down, created P. Miller Enterprises, and he's estimated to be worth $350 million plus. He actually started a sports agency years ago before Jay-Z did. He has a clothing line years ago before a lot of these guys came out. And in addition to that, he's made his own movies. And you'll hear him talk about betting on himself in this interview. In addition to that, you probably know his son, Lil Romeo or Romeo Miller. So hold tight, and we're going to be listening to Master P, 9 Laws of Success. And right after that, you'll hear me chime in with a few takeaways.
We're in a culture that's $1 billion business, but we create millionaires. When you start standing by your word, you'll be able to build more relationships and resources. You know what? If you're going to get into something, you got to be prepared and you got to do something big. When you get into a room, you got to take advantage of networking, just having an open conversation. Sometimes you got to look at it like how far you want to go. I love to win. And people that love to win, they're going to be successful. Probably one of the first and only to play in the NBA. We're in a culture that's $1 billion business, but we create millionaires. So I talk to a lot of guys that I know that got a lot of big contracts, and the financial advisors running everything. And it's like when basketball over, and you can't play basketball anymore, and you haven't put anything into learning financial literacy, where do you go from there? You go back to the hood. They take everything, they steal everything that you have. We're not thinking ownership. You got somebody writing your checks. Even though there's good financial advisors out there, but most of them, and at the end of these guys' careers, it's the same story. What happened to my money? I come from independence. I come from owning product. That's the way I was able to be who I am. And as I grow and mature, I'm thinking, like, what if a LeBron owned the Cavs? How much money he would be making. Own Nike. It's good Nike gave him $1 billion shoe deal, lifetime deal, but how much money are they going to make off of him? What happens when we actually own the product? When you look at all the big brands, from Apple TV to Apple Music, these guys are taking over the industry. And we got to go to them to sell them our product and to get a small piece. But we are not creating brands on our own. And I think that's where I plan to change the game. I wanted to be more of us, more minorities, having the opportunity to cash out on what we do every day. If you're a businessman or entrepreneur, you got to find a problem. So I found a problem. Record stores are closing, but video game stores are opening, and that's when it hit to me. I'm like, I need to be in a video game business. I put my life, my passion, the same way I did into the music, I put into the video game, and I'm mostly like probably the only person that looked like me, come from our culture, that's a part of this in Silicon Valley. What I learned in business, just like what she was saying, when you give somebody your word is so important. Once I gave her my word, I had to come. Even though I got a million other things I got to do. I said, well, I gave him my word. And that's going to go a long way with you in business. Once you give somebody your word, it's good to get it in writing, everything that you need to get done. But when you give somebody your word, you got to stand by it. Because when you start standing by your word, you'll be able to build more relationships and resources.
You know what? If you're gonna get into something, you got to be prepared, and you got to do something big. You know, and you gotta, you know. I feel like this Power record with me and Lil Wayne is definitely a statement record, but it's just real. It's timing. You know, I mean, I tell people all the time, I ain't on my time. We on God's time.
Absolutely.
So how LeBron James or one of them feel when they're in the gym, you got to go practice, work on your jump shot,
right.
You know, work on your game. I feel like artists now need to spend that time in the studio than just partying all day.
My whole life is about helping the kids, helping other kids, you know, letting them look at my life through a blueprint. You know, you can't just make it in the music business. I want to show people that you gotta have a couple of things going. Because when that thing ran out, something else might open up. You know, the film, the TV open up for me, all the clothing. You know, the music business is not the same no more.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's about the marketing, it's about the endorsement deals. So you got to get hot in something to get those.
You do.
So, you know, I think in this game now, what I know how to do best is about being independent. You know, so if you're independent and you can make moves the way you want to make it, you're going to be successful.
Now, down the line, you meet somebody, you might see them again. And they're going to remember you. You build those relationships. I did the same thing with Warren Buffett. Didn't know he was Warren Buffett. You know, guys, you know, I'm sitting in the room with Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm thinking, these are the guys. You know, and he told me, he said, man, look, this old guy over here, he makes $1 million just touching a computer. And I've been talking to this guy the whole time. You know, and I'm like, wow, you never know who you might be sitting next to or who you might meet. So when you get into a room, you got to take advantage of networking, just having an open conversation, meeting somebody, telling them your name, telling them where you're from, telling them what business you're in, you know, tell them whatever you're involved in. Because that person might know somebody, say, hey, you know, you into, okay, I could hook you up with, then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is my guy from over here. That's what building relationships is about, the networking. And that's the first part of business, being an entrepreneur. Because you might not have the money to start the business, even though you're an entrepreneur, you got the idea. That's how people say they started a business with no money. They had the idea, but then they went to somebody and networked with the person that had the money.
Right now, through the power of the internet right now, I think we should have to sit back and wait. It's about creating the opportunity. Don't wait for opportunity. Right now, the internet is so strong. I mean, you look at it, that's what Chuck said. Look at a guy like Soulja Boy just came up through the internet. So you're not sitting back waiting, even though people laugh at Soulja, think, oh man, his music's soft or whatever. But this guy created his own avenue. But like Chuck said, he also had to go sell out to take it to a big picture. Now, my thing is, sometimes you got to look at it like how far you want to go. And my thing is independence. I thought that this was an avenue that I was able to open up and create and still be able to empower our own people in the community. So I just think that we have to figure out how far we want to go. And
before I got that deal, I turned down $1 million deal with Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine offered me $1 million. And I'm in the project, I had like $500 in my pocket. Okay. So I went to see him. And my brother was with me, my brother C. He was like, man, take the $1 million, we're going to be rich and go take over the project. I said, nah, man, I ain't taking over no project. When I get this $1 million, I'm gone. I'm out of this. I don't even want to see no more projects. I need to be gone. So I sit in the office. I had to check, but I read the paperwork. So artists that's watching this, you need to read the paperwork. By me going to college, I was like, to my mind, I'm thinking, this is a Michael Jordan deal, because Michael Jordan got $1 million from Nike. Yeah. He would have been a billionaire. People don't know that. Yeah. But they gave him maybe like 3% or 5% or something like that. So I was like, I can't do this deal because I won't own my name no more. None of this stuff. So I told him, I said, Mr. Iovine, I'm going to get some lunch. I'll be back. So he was like, man, if you don't come back, you'll never get a deal in this town. I get back on the plane. I'm on Southwest. Start eating them peanuts. I start thinking about that $1 million. I said, man, look, the people, you want any more peanuts? Me and my brother, man, we about to fight. He was like, man, why would you not take the $1 million knowing that we don't have no money? So he asked me, say, how much money you got in your pocket? I said, I got $500. He said, you got $500, you turn out $1 million. I say, but before we start tripping on each other, if that white man offered me $1 million, how much you think I'm worth? Gotta be worth 10, 15, 20, something. Yeah. You know? That's when he left me alone. It was a long ride back to New Orleans, but that's sometimes you gotta take chances on yourself. I think, a lot of people, they say they hustle, they say they're from the streets, but why is somebody else putting your music out if you really on the street? These records I'm hearing how you trapping and how you doing all this.
Right.
You should be able to put your own music up.
Right.
You don't need nobody to put your music up.
Right,
because we was out there, we changed our life, but we put our own music up.
Right.
We did our own thing.
I like to win. I love to win. And people that love to win, they're going to be successful. But it's okay losing sometimes. You might not win all the time. Because you always say tomorrow. I lost today, but tomorrow I'm going to make up for it. So be prepared to take losses in business. Be an entrepreneur. So that's the thing about it. But that one win, take away all the pain. If you're an entrepreneur and you own your own business and you run your business.
Well, I'm probably the first hip-hop artist to make a movie, independent film. I'm probably the first hip-hop artist to do a sports agency. I'm probably one of the first hip-hop artists to do clothing. Probably one of the first and only to play in the NBA. Probably one of the first and only to make an 80-20 deal, distribution deal. I mean, I could go on and on, man, but it's like, so many doors and open up for our people, and I'm just glad to be a part of that history.
That was Master P laying it down, 9 laws of success. And I just want to give you a couple of my takeaways. Number one, he talked about having the entrepreneurial mindset. And what the entrepreneurial mindset is it's actually thinking differently. Most times we're conditioned to think as an employee, but when you have an entrepreneurial mindset, what you're looking for are opportunities. Opportunities to leverage your time, your skill, your resources, or whatever for your benefit as opposed to somebody else's. So you need to have that entrepreneurial mindset. And I knew years ago, since I was little, that I had that type of mindset because every job that I worked in, I tried to figure out, number one, how much they were making off of me, because it's an arbitrage. They're never going to pay you what you're worth. And number two, how can I do this and reap the benefits? So you always need to have that entrepreneurial mindset. Second thing that he talked about was standing by your word. Now, you're only as good as your word. And I know, myself included, sometimes we say things that we're not able to come through. But we need to try as hard as we can to make sure that you stand by your word. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it. Even if it may be detrimental to you, in the future. But if you promise somebody something, stand by your word. That's how people develop trust. Like one thing, and I'll use this as an example. I tell you guys, every Monday morning, an episode is going to drop a Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. And I stood by my word the 3.5 years that I've had the podcast, that I started the podcast. Now, some days, if I'm traveling or whatever, it may be a rebroadcast. But every Monday at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I drop something new out there. So standing by your word. Master P also talked about being prepared. Now, to be successful, you have to be prepared. But one of the things that I talked about in one of the earlier shows was about also being financially prepared for opportunities. When I first became an entrepreneur, I didn't have any money. I was working in corporate America. I had a little bit of money, but I spent a lot of that on my business, and actually frivolously, because I really didn't know what I was doing at first. But there's something that you learn as you continue in your business, that you need to be financially prepared for opportunity. There's so many opportunities that come your way, and if you're not financially prepared, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So in addition to being mentally prepared, doing, studying, researching your industry or whatever you're trying to get into, continue to learn. You need to be financially prepared if there's an opportunity for you to take advantage of. So number 3 was being prepared. Also, number 4, he talked about being independent so you can make moves. And I'm definitely all for that. Being independent means that you can do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and you don't have to tell anybody anything. All right. That's being independent. So if you see fit that you need to make a certain move, then you go ahead and do that. When you get constricted by other things, it might even be partnerships or things of that nature, or you might have an agreement. He talked about he was going to sign with Jimmy Iovine for $1 million. But at that point, he couldn't even have the rights to his own name. So the independence was more important than that $1 million. All right, that's number 4. Number 5, network. That's pretty simple. You never know who you're going to meet. Conversations. I've actually struck up some of my biggest deals just networking, just meeting people. One time I was at an after work function years ago, and I'm just chatting with this young lady, and we're just talking about business. Come to find out, she's one of the biggest realtors in Philadelphia. Handled multi-million-dollar property. Struck up a friendship, business relationship with her, and I used to get all of her property, all of her purchase deals or refis. So you never know who you're going to meet when you start networking. Number 6, he talked about creating opportunities for yourself. And this is big because a lot of times we'll sit around and we'll wait. Oh, yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. You can't wait. You got to create your own opportunities. And what happens is when you get out there and start mixing around, talking to people, doing things for your business, opportunities will present themselves. But you just can't sit there behind your desk with the door closed and think things are going to happen. You have to go out there, network, make contacts, mix around a little bit. Trust me, it will work. People will start to contact you. People will start to ask you questions. And then that's where the opportunities come from. So you need to create your own opportunities. Number 7, know your worth. And once again, Master P turned down that $1 million. He's sitting on the plane, getting 3-4 bags of peanuts on Southwest, and his brother's pissed off because they didn't take $1 million. And I love what Master P said. He said, if this man is going to give me $1 million, then how much am I really worth? How much is my true worth? And that's what we have to start thinking about too. Sometimes we sell ourselves too short just for the buck, as opposed to looking at the bigger picture and saying, you know what, like Master P did, I know I'm bigger than that. And now he has a 350 million plus empire. Number 8, he talked about take chances on yourself. And I always talk about bet on yourself. Who else better to bet on than you? Who you going to bet on? Your job? You can't do that. I mean, you can do that, but if you want to live an extraordinary life, then you're going to have to do extraordinary things. Going to work every day, that's common, that's normal. And I'm not saying knocking anybody because once again, I've done it. But if you want to live extraordinary, you got to do extraordinary things. And number 9, make up for your losses. Now, it's funny because he had talked about taking L's as an entrepreneur. And I always tell you guys, that's part of the business. It's part of the process, is losing. But like Master P said, one victory, one win can erase all of those losses. And I say it all the time, just takes one. That's it. You could be an abject failure in business your whole damn life. And one day you hit on one thing, one business that you created that just blossoms and blows up. So all that other stuff that happened before, guess what? It doesn't even matter. But that stuff that did happen before, that was part of your process. One of the biggest issues is we take the bumps, right? We bump our head, but a lot of times we stop. You got to keep bumping your head until you learn what you need to learn to get that one big success. And once you get that first big success, it doesn't even have to be big, but once you get that first success, success grows upon success, confidence, the whole nine. So that's Master P's 9 laws of success. And once again, it doesn't matter where you come from. Master P came out the ghettos of New Orleans, but he was determined. He was a hustler. He was selling his records out the back of his car. And he was doing it, and look where he's gotten to now. So, we all at different points in our lives. Everybody has a point A, and everybody's looking to go to point B. Your point A, you may start off a whole lot better than me. But it doesn't matter where you start. It's where you finish that counts. So whatever it takes you to move from point A to point B, that's what you need to do. Nothing's going to happen without action. So those are Master P's 9 laws of success. Before we close out, I just want to give you guys some updates about what's coming up within the next 2 to 3 weeks on Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. First and foremost, my new book, A New Black Wall Street, should be done within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going through its final edit right now. And what A New Black Wall Street is, it talks about how with today's technology, we're not confined to a Black Wall Street like in Tulsa that was a 16 square block finite area. We have a worldwide global economy, and we can start circulating our own money or our own dollars to black businesses, obviously through the internet. And in addition to that, you guys know I'm big in e-commerce. I'm going to give you actionable steps, 12 steps, how to start your own e-commerce business. So definitely stay tuned for that, and I'll keep you guys abreast when the book is getting ready to drop. In addition to that, a couple weeks ago, I talked about doing a live episode, and we're actually going to do that live episode in about 2 weeks. We're trying to get everything scheduled and set up right now. Now, my CPA, Thane Martin, is actually going to come on the show, and he actually requested to do a live show also, because I had a lot of BEB family members asking me about the new tax laws and how they're going to affect entrepreneurs. And because that's what he does, he was like, man, bring me on. I love to field questions and outline everything so we as entrepreneurs know what we need to do, what we can do, what we should do. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine the show that I was going to do a live show, and we're going to combine it when Thane Martin comes on, and we're going to take live calls. I will alert you guys via social media, way in advance. So the only thing we're trying to get together now is the actual time and the date with Thane Martin. So that should be within the next 2 weeks, but I will definitely give you guys a heads up. Also, if you guys need to connect, Jay Jones at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Twitter, JJones001, Instagram, JJones4real, the number 4, REAL, YouTube, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. I'm putting out more content on YouTube, different content. So I'm usually dropping a video a week, and I'll probably step that up a little bit. But definitely, please sign up for my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and subscribe. So I got different content coming out. And so I'm actually going to be in the street traveling. And when I'm out traveling, I'm going to be talking to specific entrepreneurs. And I'm not going to do a 30 or 40 minute show. There'll be short clips while I'm out there. If I'm in Los Angeles, I may talk to business owners in LA. So we're working on all of that stuff. And we're going to start doing a lot more video. So, guys, I can't tell you or thank you enough, because every episode we get more and more downloads. And I attribute that all to the BEB family. It's nothing but love, man. I'm telling you, guys show me so much love. I'm so appreciative of that. And if you can just please continue to spread the word about the podcast, obviously, YouTube channel, and also the blog, blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Talk to you guys next week. I love you. See you same time next week. Peace.